You are committing a slow, agonizing financial suicide. While you drown in weaponized debt to fake a lifestyle you cannot afford, algorithms and AI are quietly digging your grave. If you do not face this brutal truth right now, you will remain broke and entirely expendable forever. Stop what you are doing and look at your hands. Are they trembling slightly from the third cup of cheap coffee? Or is it the invisible weight of that credit card statement hitting your inbox? Last night, you lay awake at 3 a.m., staring into the blinding void of your phone screen, mindlessly swiping away your future to buy a phone you cannot afford, a pair of hype-beast sneakers to impress people whose names you barely even know. You are bleeding out financially, screaming silently behind a carefully curated digital smile, drowning in a sea of toxic debt, while the world around you moves at a terrifying, relentless pace. You are deeply terrified that you are already out of time, yet you keep scrolling just to numb the pain of a deadline breathing down your neck. Before we dive into the bloody autopsy of your financial survival, hit that subscribe button right now to support the channel, so we can keep bringing you these harsh, life-saving truths in the future. Welcomes you to the brutal reality check you have been desperately running away from. I am not sitting here looking down on you from some ivory tower, preaching hollow morality. I am speaking to you from the trenches, because I was exactly where you are sitting right now. My 20s were a suffocating blur of directionless anxiety. I was the absolute king of faking it. I walked around carrying a massive, crushing boulder of credit card debt, chasing a fragile, pathetic illusion of wealth on social media, just to mask a shattering inferiority complex. I talked a massive game to anyone who would listen about million-dollar startup ideas, yet I could not even drag myself out of bed to face the morning. The price I paid was not just lost money. It was the cold, paralyzing night sweats, the sickening drop in my stomach every time a bank debt collector's message lit up my phone. I had to painfully rebuild my life from the ashes of my own arrogance, and that is exactly why we need to have this deeply uncomfortable conversation today. You have probably seen Mark Tilbury, the 57-year-old self-made millionaire, scattering his wealth-building advice across the internet. But let your inner cynic speak up for a second. How can a man from a completely different generation, who grew up in an era where buying a house was actually a reachable milestone, possibly understand our modern nightmare? We live in a ruthless era where AI replaces jobs in milliseconds, algorithms melt our attention spans, and crypto markets wipe out life savings overnight. You cannot just skip buying a daily latte and magically afford real estate anymore. But if you dismiss his wisdom completely out of youthful spite, you are digging your own grave. This video is not a boring recital of an old man's outdated checklist. This is a surgical dissection. We are taking his core, battle-tested philosophies, ripping them apart, and forging them into a weaponized, hyper-realistic survival map specifically designed for the absolute chaos of our generation. To forge this weaponized map out of an older generation's wisdom, we first have to address the most uncomfortable truth about the money you are currently making, or rather, the terrifying reality of the money you are not. Mark Tilbury constantly preaches about the necessity of increasing your income and building multiple streams of revenue. But to our generation, that advice often feels like being told to simply build an airplane while you are free-falling from the sky. We look at the traditional path of climbing the corporate ladder and we see an absolute joke. You know deep down that working 50 hours a week for a microscopic 3% annual raise, while inflation aggressively devours 10% of your purchasing power, is a slow, agonizing financial suicide. Yet, what are you doing about it? You are falling into the modern trap of the illusion of action. I used to lay on my couch for hours watching side hustle videos on TikTok, saving posts about dropshipping and affiliate marketing, convincing myself that merely consuming this content meant I was being productive. I was completely deluded. Watching someone else get rich is not a side hustle. It is just another form of brain-numbing entertainment. The stark reality of our modern economy is that you are no longer competing with the guy in the cubicle next to you. You are competing with algorithms, offshore talent, and artificial intelligence that does not need to sleep. If your only skill is showing up and doing what you are told, you are entirely expendable. Tilbury's core message here is not about asking your boss for a pathetic little raise. It is about mutating yourself into a business of one. You have to aggressively acquire high-leverage, scalable skills that machines cannot easily replicate right now. We are talking about high-ticket sales, persuasive copywriting, complex problem-solving, and understanding how to manipulate AI to multiply your own output. I remember the exact afternoon I realized my employer viewed me as nothing more than a line item on a spreadsheet that could be deleted in a fraction of a second. The panic was suffocating, but it was also the exact catalyst I needed to stop consuming digital garbage and start producing actual value. You have to stop trading your irreplaceable, finite time for a rapidly depreciating currency and start building systems that detach your physical labor from your earning potential. It requires brutal, lonely nights of studying and failing while your friends are out drinking away their weekend. But that isolation is the exact price of admission for financial sovereignty in this ruthless decade. But forcing yourself to become a high-value producer and scaling your income is absolutely useless if you are relentlessly pouring that new money into a bucket with a massive hole blown through the bottom. This brings us to the psychological warfare of modern debt, an arena where Tilbury's old-school advice about avoiding credit cards feels almost quaint compared to the hyper-optimized traps we face today. He tells you to avoid bad debt, but he did not grow up in an ecosystem entirely designed by behavioral psychologists to drain your bank account before you even realize what happened. We are living in the golden age of the consumer cult, where buy now, pay later schemes are seamlessly integrated into every single checkout page, whispering sweet lies that you can afford a lifestyle you have absolutely no business living. Debt in our generation is not just a financial miscalculation. It is weaponized against our fundamental human need for status and belonging. I know exactly how this poison works because I used to drink it daily. I used to finance rounds of overpriced drinks at clubs and buy designer clothes on credit just to feel a fleeting second of validation from people who would not even attend my funeral. The dopamine hit of a package arriving at my door was the only thing numbing the crushing depression of my actual reality. But when the statements arrived, the panic attacks would violently kick in. You do not own those things. Those things own you. Every time you swipe that card for something you cannot buy in cash twice over, you are literally selling fragments of your future freedom to a massive banking institution that views your financial illiteracy as its primary profit model. To survive this, you cannot just budget. You have to undergo a brutal, radical detox from the culture of modern consumerism. You have to look in the mirror and accept the humiliating truth that you are broke. And acting rich is exactly what is keeping you broke. I had to physically cut up my credit cards with a pair of kitchen scissors while my hands shook, feeling like an addict going through agonizing withdrawals. I had to endure the temporary embarrassment of telling my friends I could not afford to go out to eat, sitting alone in my cheap apartment eating rice and beans while their curated lives flashed across my screen. But let me tell you something from the other side of that misery. The quiet, deeply profound liberation of having a zero balance on your credit card feels infinitely better than any luxury item you could ever drape over your insecure shoulders. Once you have finally stopped the financial bleeding and broken free from those invisible digital chains of modern consumerism, You are ready to plant your money in a soil that constantly feels like it is catching fire. Mark Tilbury's foundational wealth-building strategy relies heavily on the slow, steady compounding of the stock market through index funds, a concept that makes the average modern 20-something want to pull their hair out of pure boredom. We have grown up in a deeply traumatizing financial era, surviving once-in-a-lifetime economic collapses every 5 years, watching housing prices skyrocket into the stratosphere while the media constantly screams that the sky is falling. Because we feel so desperately behind, we have completely abandoned the concept of patience. We do not want to be wealthy in 30 years. We want to escape the rat race by next Friday. This profound desperation has birthed the casino economy, a toxic wasteland of meme coins, zero-day options trading, and get-rich-quick crypto schemes that prey on our deepest financial anxieties. I have been there, staring at a crypto chart at 4 in the morning, sweating profusely as a random digital token I dumped my rent money into plummeted by 80% in a matter of minutes. I wanted the shortcut so badly that I completely blinded myself to the mathematical reality of wealth creation. Tilbury is right, and it hurts to admit it because his way is agonizingly unsexy. The brutal truth you must accept is that real wealth is incredibly quiet, excruciatingly slow, and profoundly boring. The casino economy is designed to strip you of your capital by hacking your emotional volatility. You have to divorce your emotions from your money and embrace the unglamorous reality of buying broad market index funds consistently, regardless of whether the news tells you the economy is booming or collapsing. You do not need to be a financial genius. You just need to be ruthlessly disciplined and emotionally dead to the noise. When you automate your investments into the S&P 500 and simply walk away to focus on building your skills and living your life, you are harnessing the undeniable mathematical gravity of compound interest. It will feel like absolutely nothing is happening for years, and you will be deeply tempted to pull your money out to chase a shiny new speculative bubble. But if you can stomach the boredom and let time do the heavy lifting, you will eventually wake up one day and realize your money is working exponentially harder than you ever could, effectively buying back the decades of freedom you thought were lost forever. Embracing this slow, agonizingly boring path to actual generational wealth ultimately requires a complete psychological rewiring of who you fundamentally think you are and what you believe you deserve. The most difficult pill to swallow from all of this older, battle-tested wisdom is the crushing burden of radical accountability. Our generation has practically made an Olympic sport out of playing the victim, and honestly, we have plenty of valid ammunition. The system is undeniably rigged, the cost of living is genuinely criminal, and the political landscape is an absolute nightmare. But sitting in a circle with your friends complaining about how unfair the world is will not pay your rent, and it certainly will not buy your freedom. No one is coming to save you. The government is not going to bail you out, your parents cannot afford to rescue you, and a 57-year-old millionaire on the internet can only hand you a survival map. He cannot force you to walk the terrifying path through the jungle. I spent years blaming the economy, my boss, and society for my pathetic bank account. But the day my life actually changed was the day I looked in the mirror and accepted that everything wrong with my life was entirely my fault. That realization is terrifying, but it is also the most empowering moment you will ever experience. Because if you are the sole cause of your destruction, you are also the absolute architect of your salvation. You have a choice to make right now as this video ends. You can close this app, go back to mindlessly scrolling, and return to the comfortable, suffocating misery of being exactly like everyone else. Or You can draw a bloody line in the sand today. Stop making pathetic excuses and start violently executing the unsexy fundamentals of wealth building. The clock is ticking, and your future self is begging you to wake up. Stay hungry, stay ruthless, and I will see you in the next one. The journey to true financial freedom is not found in flashy side hustle videos or the dopamine hits of modern consumerism, but rather in the ruthless execution of unsexy, fundamental truths. We exist in a hyper-optimized ecosystem designed to keep us broke, feeding off our insecurities through buy now, pay later traps and a toxic casino economy that preys on our desperation for quick wealth. To survive this, you must radically detach from the illusion of action. Watching others get rich is not a skill. You must aggressively acquire high-leverage abilities that make you irreplaceable in an age of algorithms and artificial intelligence. You must also sever the chains of bad debt, enduring the temporary humiliation of living below your means to secure your future independence. Furthermore, you must divorce your emotions from your investments. Ignore the noise of crypto bubbles and panic-inducing headlines, and instead, embrace the painfully boring but mathematically undeniable power of long-term compounding through broad market index funds. Ultimately, it all boils down to radical accountability. The system might be rigged, and the cost of living may be absurd, but complaining will never fund your freedom. No one is coming to save you. By accepting that your current reality is entirely your own responsibility, you unlock the power to architect your financial salvation. The path is lonely and excruciatingly slow, but the quiet liberation of financial sovereignty is worth every sacrifice. True wealth is not about outsmarting the system overnight. It is about outlasting your own destructive impulses and societal programming. The ultimate currency is not money, but your focus, patience, and discipline. When you stop outsourcing your blame to the economy, your boss, or the government, you immediately reclaim the power to dictate your own future. It your inputs. Stop passively consuming hustle content. Pick one scalable, high-leverage skill like copywriting, high-ticket sales, or AI automation, and actively practice it for 1 uninterrupted hour every single day. Execute a consumer detox. Physically remove or lock away your credit cards. Challenge yourself to a 30-day no-spend month, where you only pay for absolute survival necessities, breaking the dopamine loop of buying things you do not need. Automate the boring path. Open a brokerage account today. Set up a recurring automatic transfer to an S500 index fund, and then delete the app from your phone. Stop checking the charts and let time do the heavy lifting. What is one expense or bad financial habit you are willing to cut out today to start taking back your freedom? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might be the exact wake-up call someone else in our community needs to read today. If this message resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. Your support truly motivates me to keep pushing through the noise and creating valuable content to help you win in this ruthless economy.